Hi, this is Miss Jacobs, and I'm going to talk today about skip counting for grades K through 2. Skip counting is a great way to kind of make math fun and put your own spin on grouping numbers just in your everyday life. So, really quickly, some of the reasons why it can be useful to practice skip counting is as children learn about numbers, it's very important that they understand how to group, manipulate, sort, and move numbers around, and that they can kind of do this intuitively in their head. These skills together are important to develop number sense, this idea that children understand how numbers are used and what they can do, and can help students feel more comfortable with higher levels of math as they move into multiplication, division, fractions, and pre-algebra. The goal with skip counting is for children to use numbers in everyday life to be able to do mental math, understand that numbers are flexible and fluid and can be moved, and see that math is fun. So you don't want to kind of overdo this, just a little bit at a time, and they'll start to understand the concepts. And ideally, it's a way to just integrate a little bit of math into your everyday lives. So, three ideas that you can use for skip counting at home. One is shoes. I love shoes because they naturally fit for skip counting twos. Number two is cooking. And number three is walks, all pandemic friendly. So, for shoes, you can do this a number of different ways. You can have the scholar gather all the shoes in the house, then have them skip count by twos to count how many individual shoes each person has. You can have the scholar skip count by types of shoes, how many boots, how many flip flops, how many dress shoes are in your house. Or you can kind of have them come up with their own groupings. So have them count inside versus outside shoes, or big versus little, or different colors, or shoelaces and no shoelaces. You can kind of mix this up and keep it fun. But the idea is that they're really understanding this idea of sets of twos by looking at shoes because it's really easy visual for them to understand that twos go together. All right, the next idea I have is for cooking. In the kitchen, while you're cooking, your children generally demand your attention. And you can have them help count out ingredients and ask them about groupings kind of as you're getting set up. So if you need a dozen eggs, how many groups of three would that be? How many groups of four? How many groups of two? You could also give them something to count while you're getting set up. So if you're making, black beans and rice, you can give them some dried beans to count by fives, eights, tens, and see how many groups they can come up with of those different numbers. If they're having their own snack while you happen to be cooking, you can give them sections of a tangerine, apple slices, blueberries, crackers, whatever they happen to have for a snack that day, and ask them, how many groups of two are in that tangerine? What if you group them by three? Then how many would you have? Keep it fun and just do a little bit at a time. Don't make this into an every time you cook thing, but just a little bit will go a long way. And them understanding the usefulness of skip counting is kind of what we're trying to convey. Two other ideas, and this is from the book Skip Counting My Way to School, is you can have them look for patterns, and you can do this by using something like Cheerios. They can start at 0 and then see 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, what that looks like when you skip count by fives. Same thing with eggs. You can do it by fives. You can do it by fours. You can do it by twos. I like twos for eggs because when they come in the carton, they're kind of already set up that way. So the idea is just for them to find totals and understand the use of skip counting. The last idea I have is when you're on a walk. So when you're on a walk with your child, point out things they can count. So it could be leaves on a branch, sidewalk sections, fence panels are really great, flowers, acorns, anything they can spy as they're walking, you can try to skip count and really, go with the interest of your child. As with the cooking, just do this a little bit at a time and keep it fun. But I wanted to show you this example so you can see there's this huge fence here and they can count each panel in the sections of the fence. And then you can say, okay, well, what if we had 5 more sections? And you can really get into some higher level math if the numbers are bigger as well. So this one, if you look, has 13 in between, 13 small panels. So you can have them count by 13, 13, 26, 39, and then keep going as much as they can until they get tired of it. If they only want to do 2, then leave it at 2. But the idea is that it's fun And that then they could understand, okay, well, how many do you think we have in this whole fence if there's 8 sections, that have 13 each? And that would be a bigger problem that you guys could work on together. So don't turn it into a chore, but the idea is for them to understand how you using this can help them solve bigger problems. One way to kind of connect this with your math lessons is to include a hundreds chart, and they can just mark off all the, counting by twos, counting by threes, counting by fives, counting by tens, and have them mark off as they go and just kind of do a little bit of reinforcement. You can also use a skip counting chart. And that can help if you want to kind of bring it along and be like, oh, okay, well, just go check your chart if you don't remember. But pretty soon you'll see that they start to intuitively know what groups of 3, 4, 8 are like, and how that functions. And then it'll come to them really quickly. A couple of books that I like that can help also reinforce these concepts are 100 Hungry Ants, about a hungry group of ants. Count on Pablo, which has a lot of using a market to skip count, which can be really fun. A farmer's market, something like that. And then the last one is Skip Counting My Way to School, is just different ways to incorporate skip counting. Thank you so much, and have a really wonderful time skip counting with your child.